it. The only game over the past 3 days between two ranked teams happened Tuesday night inside FedEx Forum. Final score, number 23 for now, Memphis 70, 22 Virginia 54. That's a 23-point win for Penny Hardaway's Tigers. So Memphis is now 9-2 with 7 wins inside the first 2 quadrants. The only other team in the nation with 7 wins inside the first 2 quadrants is top-ranked Purdue. First question, dead leg. Will you fly to Memphis to cover the Tigers national championship parade in April, or will you pass on that opportunity under the assumption that I could probably just do it myself since I live there?
Yeah, I've never gone to Memphis, and you are the reason, basically, because whenever there would be a reason for me to go, well, you're already there. But I would love to attend and cover a Memphis parade.
Yeah, we're going to fly you down for the parade.
To be fair, I didn't even cover the UConn parade in April, so what do you want from me here? Memphis Tigers. When was the last time we started a show on the Tigers of Memphis, and it wasn't for a negative reason? Honestly, it's
maybe never.
No,
I mean, I don't know. Maybe one of the victories over Houston. It cannot be common. I don't recall.
It has not happened often. And Memphis and Providence are your kind of 1A, 1B here, but we have to go with the Tigers because right now the Tigers are the better team. They have the better resume. A quick refresher on those wins that GP mentioned in the top 2 quadrants, and that is one heck of a stat as we sit here 5 days before Christmas, matching Purdue for the most W's in Q1 and Q2. So they beat Michigan, they beat Arkansas down in the Bahamas before falling in the title game. It was a blowout loss, but it was a loss on the same against Villanova. Then they came back. They are the victim of the lone, like really, really good, notable win for Ole Miss, which continues to win close games and is still undefeated after playing earlier this week, 1 of 4 left. Then Memphis got a road win in OT against VCU. It won 10 days ago at Texas A&M, and now has been able to beat Clemson and Virginia. So it has piled them up 9-2. Quick thought on the game because I watched it. David Jones, court report will publish later on Wednesday morning, and in that I have sort of we're 44 days into the season, and I ranked out the top 10 National Player of the Year candidates. I have David Jones on that list at number 7, especially after last night. He continues to be the engine for this team. He had 26 points in this game, didn't miss a foul shot. And while, they got some good contributions here and there from Caleb Mills, Quinterly, Dandridge, it's the David Jones show, and he is now becoming the breakout player in the entire country. For him to have done this and gone 5 straight games with 20 or more points, I saw it yesterday. I think RJ Davis is the only player with the streak that's longer. I think RJ Davis has gone 6 straight with 20 or more. Jones is now at 5 straight. He's averaging, 21 points a night and has helped Memphis go 4-0 against ranked competition this season, GP. The last time that happened with Memphis, where it won 4 straight games against ranked opponents, was from 96 to 97. Not even the Calipari era did this happen there. I got a thought on Virginia, but I'm going to save that. Let's focus in on Memphis here. Tigers are definitely better than the 23rd best team in the country. I think Memphis has a case, having watched them play now 5 or 6 times this season. It has a case to be in that top 10, top 12 kind of discussion. From a resume standpoint, certainly, but I'm talking about when you actually watch them play, what Penny Hardaway is doing. And, oh, by the way, Naquan Tomlin has been cleared, and he will be joining the team soon. So they're going to get even better. Your thoughts on your alma mater, GP?
Well, just to address something you just said, I moved Memphis up to number 9 in Wednesday morning's top 25 and 1. Again, when you start going through the resumes, the strength of their wins is super strong. I mean, they've got 6 wins over power conference teams. Louisville has 2 wins over power conference teams in the entire Kenny Payne era. Memphis has 6 wins over power conference teams in its past 10 games. Got 5 wins over top 55 KenPom teams. That's Texas A&M, Clemson, Virginia, Michigan, Arkansas. 5 wins away from home over top 100 KenPom teams. When you look at the strength of the resume, I think it's a top 10 resume in the country right now. I moved them up to number 9. I dropped Virginia down. That was listen, Memphis inside FedEx Forum looks like it's going to be tough for anybody this season, but Virginia got blown out. You got to pay a price for that. They're in the David Jones thing. Like we've talked about it before, when we submitted our ballots for the top 101 players in college basketball in the preseason, I did have him on my ballot, but that was based on nothing more than what I had heard coming out of preseason workouts. It was not based on what he did last season at St. John's. It was not based on anything he's ever done in college. You know, he played at 2 different Big East schools, DePaul, St. John's, and there's nothing, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's nothing he did there that suggested this was about to happen.
He's giving hope to 2,000 players that want to hop in the transfer portal right now. That's really what he is, the transfer portal hero. You're right. There was no indication it was going to be like this, but he's fun as hell. And I love these stories that pop out of nowhere. Yeah, you did have him on your top 100 ballot, but no one on the planet except maybe David Jones and his blood relatives thought that this might be capable and possible in this season. And he is the biggest reason why Memphis has aspirations beyond just competing for an American Athletic Conference championship and, hoping to get in as like an 8 or 9 seed. Things have now been elevated in that room with Penny Hardaway and Jones leading the team.
Well, that's why Penny scheduled this way. Memphis has been in the 8-9 game each of the past 2 years. And obviously, if they'd have got out of it last year, it'd have set up nice because they were in the same little pocket where Purdue got upset. So they would have played Fairleigh Dickinson in the round of 32 and been a double-digit favorite to go to the Sweet 16. As it is, because of some goofy final minute stuff, Florida Atlantic advances, goes to the Final Four. The rest, as they say, is history. But Penny's wanted to give his program an opportunity to not play in the 8-9 game. And given that Florida Atlantic was the only obvious place you were going to be able to get good wins in your league, you got to load up in the non-league. And he loaded up. He basically let the country know, if you're a power conference team of quality, we will play you. We'll start it at our place. We'll come to your place. Just tell us what to do. And it has gone incredibly well. And now, for what it's worth, KenPom has Memphis favored in every remaining game, besides at FAU on March 9th in the regular season finale. So this could, I emphasize the word could, not will, but could turn into a long winning streak that has people, I might be the first person to get Memphis into the top 10 this morning, but they keep playing this way and keep winning, then everybody will eventually get them there. And on the David Jones thing, it's just sort of a reminder of how Penny's philosophy to roster building has changed so dramatically since he became a college head coach. He's the classic example of somebody who is quite literally learning on the job. Like, it is possible he didn't know what he was getting into. In fact, I think if you were talking to him, he would tell you he didn't properly grasp what it meant to run a high major college basketball program when he was hired off the campus of East High School to run a high major college basketball program. But he seems to be learning as he goes and figuring it out, which is like, I mean that as a compliment. Not everybody is smart enough to learn as they go and to adjust on the fly. And he clearly has. In year 2, season opener, he started 5 freshmen. Right now, he's starting 4 transfers. And everybody's 22, 23, or even older. They're old. They're experienced. They come from all over the place. They weren't heralded high school players, but they are very good, experienced, older college basketball players. And they built what appears to be a great team. And I was sort of thinking about this, and then I'll turn it back over to you. I was at Penny's introductory press conference, and I wrote a column off of it. And it was just sort of explaining, because I discovered LaMelo Ball, of course, and Mickey Mitchell, of
course,
Jalen Hood-Schifino. The list is long at this point.
Kelly Oubre, we could go on, but we
don't have time. Not on a Wednesday,
of course.
But just like I discovered all them, I was the first person to scream, they have to fire Tubby Smith and hire Penny Hardaway. So when they actually did it, I went to the introductory press conference, wrote a column, and then it sort of explained. I don't even remember what the column was about, frankly, but I think I explained, this is why this had to be done, and this is why, regardless of where it goes from here, this is the only sensible thing for them to do now. And every single time that James Wiseman would quit the team, or Amani Bates would go home to Michigan with a mysterious back issue, or Memphis would have to contact Trace out its entire team from a Tennessee game because enough players didn't get vaccinated. Anytime something went wrong, people from fans of opposing schools would quote tweet it. I mean, it had, I don't know, you could find it. There's just one quote tweet after another after another. Oh, is it still sensible? Oh, is it still smart? Hey, I thought this was going to work out. Hey, this is what happens when you hire a high school coach. Should have known what would happen when you hire a high school coach. Quote tweeted nonstop. I bet I ain't seen that column in 2 years. And I bet I haven't heard anybody refer to Penny Hardaway as a, quote, high school coach in years now. He's changed the way people perceive him by being very good at his job. And now, even though he was a high school coach when he got hired at Memphis, and even though he had never even worked on a college campus before he got the job at Memphis, he is now a coach of a team people think can go to the Final Four, and he owns victories over Tony Bennett, Dan Hurley, Kelvin Sampson, Bruce Pearl, Eric Musselman, Greg Marshall, Rick Barnes, Ben Howland, Nate Oates, Randy Bennett, so on and so forth. He's proven himself. I don't know that it was smart to be entirely skeptical of him when he got hired, like some people were, because I was not. I was a believer. But even if you were skeptical of the hire, you have to, if you're being honest with yourself, look in the mirror now and say that they got it right. It's been bumpy. It's been a bit of a roller coaster.
Absolutely.
But he went to the tournament in 22, went to the tournament in 23, and I don't want to be hyperbolic, but he looks like he has a team that could at least compete for a chance to maybe win the tournament in 24.
Yeah, we'll see. That's not hyperbolic, but we got to get a little more in here. Yeah, and I'm not suggesting that you're whitewashing everything up to this point, but it was. I mean, come on.
No, it was rocky.
It was definitely rocky, and to me, it never got to the point where people were thinking that Memphis should shift off of Hardaway, but his program, hell, I think we joked about it even earlier this season on the show. Just it would. With regularity, there would be issues with the program. And, yeah, we did because it was the Jordan Brown stuff as well.
Yeah, so there's still issues.
There's still issues.
Right now.
But getting it down on the floor, that's what fans care about most.
Yes.
And I'll wrap it up by this. It was huge last night from a game standpoint. Virginia wants to get it going, in the stickiness, and Memphis, it wanted to make sure that it was going to play the games on its terms. And for the most part, it did, because it was a 69 possession game, which was the fewest possessions Memphis played all season, but it was also the most possessions Virginia had played all season. And in doing so, Virginia allowed a season high 77 points here, and Memphis was able to turn Virginia over 18 times on Tuesday night. Virginia had not been turned over that many times in the game this season, and the Tigers turned that into 27 points by starting off. I mean, the game was 13-1 4 minutes in. That really set the tempo, and if you don't let Virginia dictate early, then that's how you get your biggest advantage. And beyond that, it was the defense that was impressive, because Isaac McNeely for Virginia, he entered the game shooting 55% from three-point range, which will eventually regress to the mean, obviously, but that was the best in the entire sport. Guess what? McNeely went 0 for 5 from three-point range last night after averaging 3 threes per game going into Tuesday night. So credit to Tigers. You're looking well. What comes next? I got that for later in the show. But yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm with you on this undoubtedly. Memphis is a top 10 resume. Is it a top 10 team? I'm certainly thinking about it. It is inarguable when you have watched this team play, taking everything into account. That is a top 15 team in the country right now. And hey, American Athletic Conference, you got a good 1-2 right there with them and FAU. Best possible scenario, I think, so far to this point in the non-con with those teams performing the way they have.